And hello, welcome back. So this is our next to last lecture. This is going to be a pretty brief one. It's going to be on winter weather. And then next week we're going to have another brief one on global warming, kind of the if you believe it's real versus if you don't believe it's real. And there will be a paper due on that, but we'll be talking more about that next week. For this week, however, like I said, we are going to be talking a little bit about winter weather. Just getting to my notes there. The notes and the PowerPoint have already been uploaded to Moodle. This will be uploaded, and then I'll see y'all one more time next week. So I hope everybody is doing well. Winter weather, definitely not something that we have to deal with a lot here in central Louisiana. However, occasionally we do get some winter conditions. And there are actually several different types of winter storms. And yes, the Weather Channel loves to name winter storms, but again, that is not an official thing. That's more of a marketing ploy that they do. Still, what we learned last week, the only storms that get official names, those of course are hurricanes from the World Meteorological Organization. So a couple of different types of storms. Probably the first and foremost that most people are very familiar with are blizzards. Again, not something that we see an awful lot here in central Louisiana. But blizzards are a combination of blowing snow and wind that results in very low visibilities. A lot of times, severe cold and heavy snowfall will accompany the blizzard. However, that's not always required. Really, the one key is you have to have sustained winds over 35 miles an hour and a lot of blowing snow. That helps to create what is really like a blizzard definition, if you will. Something, however, that we do see a lot of here, or at least on occasion, and something that I saw a lot of growing up in the Mississippi Delta, and I think I told y'all this story, were ice storms. And I'll kind of explain how ice storms happen in a few more minutes. But an ice storm is any storm of ice where you get at least 1/4 of an inch of coating of ice on any object that's outside. Tree, power line, your outdoor furniture, anything like that. Any type of exposed surface. So of course an ice storm will not only help bring down power lines and tree limbs and trees themselves, because that ice weighs an awful lot. However, we can always get hazardous driving conditions and walking conditions as well, just trying to drive or walk on all of that ice. Another type of winter phenomenon that, again, we don't see an awful lot of around here is lake effect storms. Lake effect storms only happen around very, very large bodies of water, lakes, such as the Great Lakes. And they happen a lot of times, you see lake effect storms a lot of times in those cities that are built right on the lake. Cleveland, Buffalo, or really any other city that's built right along the lake. And what happens is a very cold, dry air mass will move over all of that water. And keep in mind, the Great Lakes, they're huge. So you've got all of this very dry, cold air moving up over all of that water. As it does so, a lot of that moisture evaporates into that dry air. So now that air is now full of moisture by the time it hits the next shore. And very quickly it dumps a lot of snow in very small areas. What happens is that air hits that land, rises just enough that you get enough lift in the atmosphere that that air can't hold all of that moisture, so it starts to fall out of the sky as snow. A lot of times with lake effect snows, you will get very small pockets with just huge amounts of snow, up to 2 feet of snow. You may go 2 or 3 miles down the road and they don't see quite as much snow. They'll get some, but maybe just not quite as much as that pocket. And a lot of that snow results in a very, very close band right near the coastline of that lake. So again, you have to have very, very large lakes, such as the Great Lakes, in order for this phenomenon to occur. So there are a couple of different types of winter weather precipitation. Of course, the one that we are most familiar with is snow. And snow happens when that precipitation, frozen precipitation, falls from the cloud and makes it all the way down to the ground without melting. So that whole column of air from the ground to the base of that cloud is below freezing. All of that air is below freezing. However, there are a couple of different types of snow, if you will. One is snow flurries. It's what we see a lot of here. Very light snow, very falling for a very short duration, not a long time at all. Very little accumulation. More than likely, we're not going to see any. But if we do see some, it is very, very light dusting. So those are snow flurries. Snow showers are a little bit different. That is snow falling at varying intensities for brief periods of time. So you may get a little light snow, a little burst of heavier snow, light snow, a little burst of heavier snow, and you can get a little accumulation with that, generally around ½ inch or so. Snow squalls are brief, very intense snow showers, accompanied by very strong gusty winds. So again, snow squalls, very often seen in the Great Lakes region, and accumulation could be significant because you're getting a lot of very heavy snow in these big bursts, and you're also getting that very strong gusty wind as well. And then blowing snow is just wind-driven snow that can cause significant problems, especially while driving. If you drive out west, a lot of times they will have these fences like on the side of the interstate, and those are meant to catch the snow as it blows. So therefore it's not piling up on the road and it's not getting in the way of the drivers. And like I mentioned earlier, blizzards are winds over 35 miles an hour with snow, blowing snow, and also you have to have reduced visibility to a quarter mile or less for at least 3 hours for that storm to be completely classified as a blizzard. So I'm going to break right there, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the other two types of winter precipitation.